abusian for once in so subscribe my na washe ammonia so the any BT no so keep you updated. Yes, already in feeling chimney and cardio or and chemo edify a year the we can say the judiciary and the executives for now the banter as a confusion. I can say the suspended chief justice trying to portray to Ghanaians say a year the executives for no any judiciary aircon. Meanwhile, a year or no chief justice no and I said we were quite a DB and matches if any sim in any matches on no more person more creative and atmosphere say judiciary and executives for the Enya. Now, Sabra is speaking of NDC, lawyers, a kukudam, a boy, me say. A mammy tokono or any chief justice will be as we speak, or any chief justice. Any position on yet they are more before for. Until then, some more namo keka eyes, chief justice, Arabasaki tokono, some no kikani nano, they are down the untraso, arches, and beckons are awesome. Mani panya chese enya asengto beka kweti santi chimuni se de nyina anim no ma mitoko no pass Supreme Court a chawse omomboa no na sa impeachment process na egusu ekoso no omofom na enye de ensi so na chese sa committee no mungunumpu omun dissolve no na bibia samfa na samko na sabri no yeah, a more munim dimremuno lawyers for actually Nemo constitution. Amir will say, Sansam na a chief justice Eke Caninana, a nimrem bakukra. Now, on any lawyer, Godfred Dame, a mum and embarrass the system, embarrass the judiciary. No one him say in future, no, a judges for an asset judiciary and for more in charm. You couldn't quit in sending.
I mean, you have some points you want to make on your own, or you want me to come to you?
You can, but just sometimes for the purposes of our viewers and our listeners, no matter how discomforting the expertise opinion may appear to be, it is important that it is shared. First of all, it is true that through the constitutional review process, one can engineer a certain outcome as far as many of these provisions are concerned if we are not comfortable with it. That is your first step, is simply to get in touch with the Constitutional Review Committee that has been put in place by His Excellency President Mahama and make your policy position on it succinct. Her lawyers, if they are uncomfortable with Article 146, the window of opportunity is still not closed on them. Quite apart from activating the legal processes to force an interpretation that seeks to expand the frontiers of Article 146, they should also explore the possibility of taking advantage of the current committee that is sitting to review to have a look at our constitution and make a presentation to that effect. I think that can be done. But you see, so, Nana, I agree that using the constitutional review process is one way.
Okay.
But interestingly, too, another way is through interpretation. So it is within her legal right, like I indicated from the word go to court to seek for an interpretation that seeks to expand the frontiers of Article 146. In any case, the courts have done so before.
Yeah.
In the case of Frank Ajetum.
Yeah.
This issue of prima facie,
Yeah.
we're dealing with, if you read the constitution,
in fact, if not for that case,
there wouldn't have been the need for the establishment of a prima facie. So the case expanded the frontiers of that particular provision and made room for such a creation.
Okay.
But in as much as the doors of opportunities are still open, it does not mean that we should drive through all kinds of absurdity through that door.
Okay.
Under the guise of upholding the principles of our 1992 Constitution.
All right. All right.
And for me, that is my disappointment. I am seeing things I have never seen before. The lowest of the low, Akable. And for it to be coming from a former Chief Justice and celebrated lawyers is scary, to say the least.
Suspended Chief Justice.
Suspended Chief Justice. Because you see,
Chief Justice, yeah.
thanks for that correction. Suspended Chief Justice. But you see, Akable, in that same supplementary affidavit in support, she has described herself as the Chief Justice. She's the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. I have to speak today.
I mean, but Hamza, to be fair, if you read the majority opinion, the recent decision, the court does acknowledge Justice Amadou Tanko says.
No, you are swearing an oath. I'm talking about an oath that she has sworn and has signed. And she's referred to herself as Chief Justice. She is not.
In my view, until her removal.
Yeah, that's why. That's why I'm making.
It's not true.
That's why I'm making reference to the majority opinion. Justice Tanko makes the point that the position of the Chief Justice is not vacant.
It's not vacant.
It says there is an occupant.
Yes.
Just
but who is the occupant?
Has been suspended.
Who is the occupant?
Lady Chief Justice.
She is not the occupant. She is not the occupant. You see, you can put all kinds of slant to that ruling. The position of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana today is not vacant because we have an acting Chief Justice in place, recognized under the laws of our Constitution. If you have a sitting Chief Justice, you have an acting Chief Justice. Absolutely not. But so legally, that position is not vacant. It has been filled in acting capacity. And the fact that it has been filled and she's been suspended, she cannot be seen swearing an oath and referring to herself as such. Under our laws, as we speak today, she's
herself suspended Chief Justice.
She's a Chief Justice of the a judge of the Superior Court judge.
When I'm saying that you are talking law, I'm talking from the corporate.
No, I'm not talking corporate. I'm talking
now,
law.
when
so
you
don't
are a
take
manager
me
and you are on leave, and somebody is acting on your behalf.
Why
you have gone to any place?
She's not gone on leave.
Yourself as a manager.
See, don't confuse legalities with your corporate understanding of things.
Yeah,
she's not on leave. She has been suspended. She still remains a Superior Court judge. Nothing bars her from swearing an oath and referring to herself as
Justice of the Supreme.
Finally, let's land. I mean, I found this affidavit interesting because it gave us a sense of how her leadership is processing all that is happening around her, and her assessment and conclusion is that there is a ruse to unjustifiably remove her from office, and she says judicial independence is under assault. Let me ask you directly, do you agree with that?
We wouldn't be seated here if indeed the judiciary and the constitution is under attack. I don't think we would be seated here today. And sometimes that is why most of the lawyers don't like me as a friend. They speak too much English and want to scare us. And the English, when you have broken it down into a better understanding, you would come to agree with me with that what I always say. They say nothing. My brother, let us be honest. The issues that were raised. One, she says the basic constitutional rights to fair trial. I'm not a lawyer. You are lawyers. But that's why I say 3 lawyers. I'm the only roadside person.
There are 2 of us, me and you. Go ahead.
Basic constitutional rights to fair trial. Ghanaians would attest. Has she been subject to an unfair trial? Has she been subjected to an unfair trial? The procedures to her removal stipulated clearly, unambiguous in Article 1466. Were those procedures followed? I hear some of the senior lawyers talk a lot, and the basic question I have asked is, are they able to quote one provision or authority to back the fact that the Chief Justice or the President has gone against Article 146? No, I am not a lawyer. And anytime you lawyers have spoken, you say that there should be an authority backing what you are saying. So if the President has not violated any provision in the Constitution, I do not see where she would want to come and tell us that her basic constitutional rights to fair trial has been violated. Number two, that violation of a human dignity. And so when I was sitting here, I was trying to understand what human dignity is. I did a Catholic university, and so there is a whole program, a course we did under human dignity. And I was trying to understand, is there a different definition of human dignity in law that we do not know? When you're talking about human dignity, that is when you have been humiliated. That is when your self-worth has been touched, and that you actually, there's examples. We're talking about somebody who has been tortured, somebody who has gone through some social exclusion, some slavery. That is what we are talking about. Human. I don't know who has taken her through that level of torture. Unless otherwise, there are different definitions to it. When, to an extent that you even requested for a petition, a copy of the petition, one per the procedures, it was not even time for you to have been given a copy. And you want us to believe that you have been tortured. Nobody has been to her office to drag her out. I do not think anybody has done anything beyond just going through the procedures that has been stipulated in the Constitution. She talks about inhuman and degrading treatment. Lovely. Ghana here, inhuman and degrading treatment, according to her, how? A mockery of justice. Lovely. I stated it before that she and her lawyers, their actions and inactions is an embarrassment to our Constitution. What they are doing is rather what is a mockery of justice. As the head of our judiciary, you would want to frustrate the processes that are constitutionally stated. Was it the terms of reference of the committee to have an in-camera hearing? No. It is stated in the Constitution clearly. Unless otherwise some of us do not understand and are not able to read. Because if you look at the procedures in 146, because I'm not a lawyer, I sometimes try to work with the Constitution. The procedures are there. I think that it is clear.
1468.
And then I'm reading. All proceedings under this article shall be held in camera. I don't know Akroma type or the italics now camera. It means that this one there's nothing you can do about it. So damn it, does not know that this is constitutional. You want to play technicalities with Ghanaians? Was it John Dramani Mahama that put this in there? I mean, where are we? What do they want to gain? I've said that if she and her lawyer want us to have a review of Article 146, there is a procedure to that effect. If you want there to be an amendment of this, there is a procedure to that effect. Let us go through that channel. But not to ride behind this case to frustrate Ghanaians. This is a frustration of Ghanaians. And you see, we kind of have given so much of room to her, and it is like, okay, she wants to find a way to court some public sympathy, but nobody has done anything to her. Others have gone through the procedure. You should go through that procedure. Now, do they now understand what proceedings and procedures are? When Ghanaians took LGBTQ Parliament, and it was a bill taken to the office of the president, that the president should assent to it and it becomes a law. And an aspect of it was taken to the Supreme Court. We ordinary Ghanaians knew for a fact that the Supreme Court does not interpret bills. Unless otherwise we were wrong. What they interpret are laws. And it was a bill, it wasn't a law. And we knew the end judgment that would come. We were crying, Madam, bring the judgment out, let the president send a signature onto the bill. We after elections came to tell us that it is a bill and not a law, and for that matter, Supreme Court cannot interpret it. Did we not know this? If you're young, no, we will go through the procedures. I seated here, I have not seen any form of frustration. And what we are talking about, when she's talking about the venue, as Hamza said, the venue is not stated in the Constitution. It is a committee, whether a commission or a committee, whichever building that is available, that would pass basic security test, is what will be given for them to use.
Okay.
I was saying for your attention, Papa, you are highly educated, so one call law school, at least. You know the constitution out to her at church near my ye or constitution. See, no, you become a constitution now, a boy in our buying, a more minor quenim, Emma democracy as your participant, and not just a casano. Mrana casa, and you be a dream, and you be sympathy of us who gain it, there be a ranimum na casa. On the way, I in your church and name me a chair. And no aboya me with MPP for Omcast from these people no say omune way in power. Oh, constitution you okay. Omon found my constitution you okay. Omkotinefia constitution ye nyanya amendment biano. Nom de omwankasa interpretation the eba. Why you ba constitution ya true egu amendment beyond by yes san no mwankasa the interpretation or mwankasa anti asimu eba trying to frustrate Ghanaians so omudin mum ne papa trying to frustrate Ghanaians say enu mum ne wo constitution because Ghana for the door send na law school better normal who name constitution even come read here in interpretation here anti so a man for a jamon semdi. So a kind frustration power modia bad the judicial system anymore. A mammy to kono and then a lawyer omumino omon a hardrin. A mummosin as an embarrassing the judiciary. Because to get a chief justice, now Article 146 ya tro go. Come on, clause 8 no crown a maye who name munchichimuye. Now we are makam mama bumani guso as if say the president ni yano on mumu waiting. Meanwhile, constitution and also na president and then go for a diso. Na mosre amuki keki before I obey chief justice no. And so before I obey a lawyer, and so now you call you to the bar no. You went to a law school. So you people, the way you people talk no, as if say, mufiti and ambe lawyer, muni ma dibia ubienim. Move ye one ambe lawyer. Meanwhile, you went through some process. You were a lawyer, teachers for a mutual law. omo na kire mo so madie amambunya sa position na me dem no. So it's not like someone kwa na munim law. Amanfo nim law e kire law ase. Ani bi na asom so amamunya sa position no. So you people no yes munim nyansa sin obi a mo na munim interpretation si obi a. Adia constitution actual say during this meeting it should be held in camera. Na over constitution in camera no oman na italic in bold. Just a one here. So. And as a Chief Justice, suspended Chief Justice, who ni ma dewi? As someone who be Attorney General for Ghana, who ni ma dewi? No more every crime so ba more call law school no mo ne be hu. So atmosphere na mo create na e be hard dwen ya hen chirima ha mo ba future ni nyina. Meanwhile constitution en sesa no. Mo sesa de mudi ahihim. Se ne be favor mo. Process and Charlotte say fast on the same process in the offer so. Charlotte said in the okay constitution is say. Now what in the new constitution is say. President in say. President of constitution. That Ben Mahami who's watch constitution. That Ben who's amendment in the constitution. If you say you people have any idea about how to go with this case, you know, Monfa amendment process and come on go for more constitutional amendment na president by what and Monfa come on. No mon junjun who's okay, the more can answer yen fan come boy in a minor course kama. Name boy in a sense I didn't any amendment no momudin interpretation and me when yes as on it here. Crofoti tour we back way see inti or momudi any mum. More than nipa almost 37 million say ye practice this constitution and ye law ni name no ye mfa momu die wi yenja nipa domu di nyina ye nyina support de mra na ka no yenja no ni me support mo wa hwe be eduma. So right now no e kona be nyina say yes wo krampo no mo munim de no ese o me lawyers for no say unye Chief Justice bi. So wo kasa yi I get tokono Chief Justice ye free almost ye free unye bi ye free ho wo hani padrin wo frustrated the system unye bi obi a occupy was our position dada. That is the reason why Attorney General enya wo lawyer because we Chief Justice akasabe was saying ka Attorney General mum na ye wo lawyer. Yes, but you say no occupy a private lawyer. Ono mum na your lawyer. Aha. We are from some neighbor not also. Na ni susu pai. Subscribe and share money as the in binti. For once